Hell's Kitchen, New York City, the 1960s, a time of cultural revolution and musical experimentation. Amidst the bustling streets of Manhattan, a basement club pulsed with the rhythm of the era. It was called The Scene. Located at 301 West 46th Street, The Scene wasn't just another nightclub. It was the place to be seen for the era's icons: Jimi Hendrix, Jim Morrison, Janis Joplin. Their music echoed within its walls, drawing crowds eager to witness the birth of a new sound. The Scene wasn't just about the music, it was a melting pot of personalities, a place where artists, celebrities, and the simply curious converged. Andy Warhol was a regular. Leonard Bernstein was known to drop by. The air buzzed with a tangible energy, a sense that anything could happen within the Scene's dimly lit interior. But beneath the surface of glamour and excitement, a darkness lingered. Unbeknownst to the revelers, a sinister secret was hidden in the very foundation of the Scene. This secret wouldn't surface for decades, buried beneath layers of concrete and time. The music would fade, the lights would dim, and the Scene would become a faded memory. But in the shadows, a story of a young woman, her life cut short, waited to be told. February 2003, the once vibrant heart of the Scene lay silent. Decades had passed since the last strains of music faded into the night. Now the building was undergoing a makeover. The basement, once a stage for legendary performances, was being converted into a mundane freezer for a restaurant. As construction workers tore into the concrete floor, they stumbled upon an unexpected and chilling discovery. Encased within the concrete was a skeleton. The remains, those of a young woman, were a stark reminder of the building's hidden past. The discovery sent shockwaves through the city. Who was this woman? How did she end up entombed in the basement of a former hotspot nightclub? The questions hung heavy in the air, demanding answers. The discovery turned the nightclub called The Scene, a place once synonymous with rock and roll culture, into the site of a cold-blooded murder. The investigation into the identity of the unknown woman, quickly dubbed Midtown Jane Doe by the media, began. The early days of the investigation into Midtown Jane Doe were a flurry of activity. Forensic experts meticulously examined the skeletal remains, searching for clues. They determined she was between 16 and 21 years old at the time of her death. Her teeth, well maintained with evidence of orthodontic work, hinted at a middle-class background. Objects found with the body offered tantalizing but ultimately misleading clues. A size 32A bra and pantyhose suggested a certain time period, as did a glittery frock. A 1966 Bulova watch and a 1969 dime narrowed down the time frame. A ring with the initials P. McG offered a potential link to her identity. However, other items muddied the waters. A bag of rat poison, initially thought to be from 1979, pointed towards a later date of death. A clothing label, seemingly from post-1988, further complicated the timeline. These discrepancies created a confusing puzzle, leaving investigators struggling to reconcile the conflicting evidence. Years turned into decades. The investigation into Midtown Jane Doe waxed and waned. Leads ran cold. The case file, filled with dead ends and unanswered questions, gathered dust. But the mystery of the young woman in the basement refused to be forgotten. In 2023, a glimmer of hope emerged from the advances in DNA technology. The NYPD turned to Astria Forensics, a cutting-edge lab specializing in extracting and analyzing degraded DNA. Astria Forensics successfully retrieved usable DNA from the skeletal remains. The DNA profile, a unique genetic fingerprint, was uploaded to CODIS, the national DNA database. There were no matches. Undeterred, the NYPD partnered with Linda Doyle, a skilled investigative genetic genealogist. Doyle used the DNA profile to search for distant relatives, painstakingly building out a family tree. A breakthrough came when a partial match surfaced in the 9/11 database. Mitochondrial DNA, passed down through the maternal line, linked Midtown Jane Doe to a relative who had provided a DNA sample after the World Trade Center attacks. Finally, after 2 decades of mystery, Midtown Jane Doe had a name: Patricia Kathleen McGlone. With Patricia Kathleen McGlone's identity now known, the task was to piece together her life. Who was she? What led her to that basement? Investigators delved into public records, interviewed family members, and traced her steps. Slowly, a portrait of Patricia began to emerge. She was a vibrant young woman full of dreams and aspirations. But somewhere along the way, her path took a dark turn. Patricia's life took a significant turn when she married in the late 1990s. Her husband, a man with a complicated past, became a person of interest. Friends and family noted changes in Patricia after her marriage. She became more withdrawn, and soon she disappeared from their lives entirely. The last confirmed sighting of Patricia was in the summer of 1999. Her sudden disappearance left a void and many unanswered questions. With Patricia's identity confirmed, detectives were now able to piece together her life prior to her death. She was born in 1953 and was raised Catholic. She went to public school and lived in Sunset Park. She ran away from home, got married and became pregnant, and may have given up her child for adoption, but the paperwork around her potential child is murky, making this fact unclear. She was 16 years old at the time of her death and was a runaway. Attention turned to her husband, who was known to have worked in the building where Patricia's body was found at the time of the murder. However, her husband has yet to be located. Despite all of this additional information and the identification of Patricia Kathleen McGlone, the case remains unsolved, with the now revived investigation ongoing, a chilling reminder of how quickly a life can be lost and forgotten. Detective Glass of the NYPD is now hoping people will come forward with anything they remember from the time frame back then. Anybody who lived in the building, anyone who can give the police some more background on her or this person she was married to. Any sort of information at all that the police can follow up on. Detective Glass added, "I am a father of 3 daughters, so I can only imagine what type of childhood she had back then to where she ended up being murdered. If anyone watching this video has some information in relation to the case, then please reach out to Detective Glass of the NYPD and share that information, which may help to solve young Patricia's murder." Thanks for watching, and please like, share and subscribe to support the channel, as it really does help a lot. If you wish to support the channel further, you will find a link to our Patreon in the video description. If you become a paid Patreon supporter, you will also get access to our exclusive TV and movie reactions, such as Band of Brothers, Das Boot, X-Movie, and many, many more. This month, we are releasing reactions to the movies The Cube and Wolf's Creek. Please also let us know in the comments your thoughts on this case, and if you have any other cases you would like us to dig into. We would love to hear from you. Until next time, God bless and bye for now.